Hello, and welcome to Timing is Everything, a program of Care Dimensions. My name is Mary Crowe, Director of Professional and Community Education at Care Dimensions. We continue with our series of programs for you around hospice, a journey of care through the lens of the interdisciplinary hospice team. Today our topic is Compassionate Care, Hospice Aides Make a Difference. We have the pleasure of speaking with two of our incredible hospice aides, Melanie Anderson, Senior Hospice Aide, and Esther Rodriquez, Hospice Aide at Care Dimensions. I want to welcome you both to the show.
Thank you.
I am so thrilled that you're here today. You guys are so special. I can't say it enough. So I want you to tell the audience a little bit about yourselves. Melanie, I'll start with you.
Hi, Mary.
Hey.
So my name is Melanie, and I've been with Care Dimensions for 4 years. And it's just been great.
Yeah. Did you do aid work before you came to it?
I was a CNA.
Yeah.
At just facilities.
Been doing this for a long time.
I have.
Yeah. And I'll come back to you because I want to know specifically about hospice work, but we'll talk more. Esther.
Hello, my name is Esther Rodriquez. I'm being a hospice aide for 6 years, almost 6 years on May now. So, and I'm so happy to work for hospice because that helps me a lot with my goal to help people.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Absolutely.
I'm so happy to be part of the Care Dimensions team.
Well, and we're thrilled to have you both as part of it because I'll tell you, the work that you do every day, it's really sacred work. I will tell you that.
Thank you.
So I really want people to understand, like, what drew you to this? There's so many other things you could be doing.
Right.
What drew you to hospice work? Why is this work so special?
This work is very special to me. When I first started out in facilities, I was working as an activity director, and I saw the other aides working, and I said, you know what, I want to do more. I wanted to do more. I wanted to care for people more. I wanted to be more hands-on. So as I went in to get my license for CNA, my instructor asked me, what did you want to do? And I said, I wanted to do end of life. So that was my passion. It's
and
a
you
calling.
just knew it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a calling.
Absolutely it is. Thank you, Melanie. How about you, Esther?
Well, for me, so my desire to help other people, and I didn't think in a better way to do it than helping people, at the end of their life. So they have a lot of needs in that stage of life, and I can support also the family. So that makes me so happy, and at the end, it's so satisfying when I can be a help and support for families and patients.
Yeah. I do believe this is a calling. I always say we don't choose our professions, they choose us. We're drawn to things for a reason. And knowing that you've made a difference in somebody's life, what a gift, isn't it?
It is.
So let's talk about, talk about your day. I want to talk about, the typical day. And I know there's no such thing as a typical day. I know they all look different. But I'll start with you, Melanie. What's a typical day? What do you do during that day? What kinds of tasks do you perform, that sort of thing?
So my typical day starts off where I will go and see my patients first thing in the morning. First thing I do is I sit with them and I talk with them. I don't rush into giving them their daily ADLs. I always put music on, set the tone, and then we just go about our days. And I give them the care that they deserve.
Yeah.
They deserve every inch of the care.
Absolutely. I'm glad you don't rush people because how you set the tone for that day makes all the difference, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. How about you, Esther?
About the same things. So I assist the patients with the, bathing and dressing, companionship, and any support that they need. As I mentioned before, they need a lot of help and support, in that stage. So that's, you know, mostly what I do, assist with the daily living care,
Yep.
and trying to keep them comfortable and with dignity in those days or last days or month that they have for life.
You know, and it's such a personal thing that you do. This is an intimate thing because, you know, when people, it's hard for people to accept this kind of help when you're helping with, you know, you had mentioned activities of daily living, you both are talking about. And you talk a little bit more about that so people understand some of the terms that we use. And you said bathing and dressing, other things that you can help with.
Right.
Talk about those to give, you know, because there's a lot of things.
Helping
them,
helping them have their meals.
Yep.
If they're unable to do that, that's what we're there for.
Yeah.
We're there to be that extra set of hands for them.
Yeah. This is, like I said, this is personal. This is so personal.
It is.
So how do you get them to allow you to be part of that with them?
It could be challenging.
Yeah.
But you have to go slow.
Yes.
You have to take your time. You have to gain the trust.
Right.
We have to let them know that they're going to be safe in our hands.
Yes.
It's the approach.
Yeah, it is. It's all about approach. It's a process, isn't it?
It's building a relationship.
Yeah, yeah.
And trust.
Yeah.
That's what we're there for.
Yeah,
you know?
definitely.
Yeah, and as soon as we meet the patient's needs, we get it's about like a relationship with the patient, and we build the trust, like Melanie said.
Yeah.
Usually, what I do most of the time, not all the time, what I do is explain to the person every task that I'm going to do, so they feel comfortable at the moment that I will perform the task. So they won't be surprised or confused when I do, you know, the care or any activities that I'm going to do with them. And that way, I build more comfortability with them.
Yes, yes, yeah. It really is about that, right? About your approach and the comfort and the care and the trust, all of that. Because like I said, this is very personal stuff, and for them to allow you in, that's going to be an honor, isn't it?
It
is. To be able to help them in this way.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they look forward to the visits.
Yeah, yeah.
They look forward to seeing our faces, and we make a difference in their lives.
Absolutely. That's why I called the show Making the Difference, because this compassionate care is so critical. And it is so personal that I think sometimes people are hesitant at first to do this and to allow this, but yet once you establish and you get to know and you develop that relationship, then people are looking forward to you being there, aren't they? Yeah, absolutely. So talk about how do you ensure comfort? You know, patients have a number of different issues. And they have all kinds of pain. We talked about that on a previous show about there's not just the physical pain, there's emotional, there's spiritual, there's all types of pain. How do you ensure comfort for that person when you're doing these types of activities of daily living with them? You want to start, Esther? Go ahead.
I can start.
Yeah.
As I mentioned before, first I try to meet the patient needs first.
Yep.
And that way I can, you know, go ahead and do the things in the better, the better way possible, so the patient will be comfortable. Yeah. And I try to ask the patient if it's on pain or something like that. And if it's any discomfort or any pain, I let the nurse know, and in that way they can, you know, treat the pain. And then when the patient is more comfortable, I go ahead and do, you know, the care and the activity that I had to do with the patient, and also try to give the patient the opportunity to make choices what they want. So.
Yeah, let me just, and I'll come back over to you to add on to this too, but I just wanted to say, so a couple of different things. You're really watching too, aren't you? Because they can't always tell you. So you're really assessing a situation, watching for different nonverbal communication that they're giving you. And then you're saying you're bringing this back to the nurse. See, that's again what this whole series is about, right? Of how we need one another, this interdisciplinary team to really serve the person in the way that we want to. Isn't that right?
That's right.
So it's, so again, bringing that information back sometimes you're identifying something before anyone else because you're having this amount of contact with them.
And
right?
it's about communication too.
Yes.
So it's like a teamwork always, but you know.
Absolutely.
Yes.
The other piece that I wanted to expound on too, Esther, that you had said was you give the person choice. I love that, because when people are at end of life or they have a serious illness, how much choice do they feel like they have? People, and they're in a, you know, they're inherently vulnerable, right? But you have giving them choice, you're giving them that voice to really be really in charge of their care in a lot of ways, right?
Yes.
And I think that's important too.
Is.
So did you want to add on that?
Something so simple as just choosing what to put on for the day.
Yeah.
Giving that patient the choice to say, hey, do you want to wear this pink shirt? Do you want to wear this red shirt?
Yep.
It's giving them the choice
Yeah.
and allowing them to do the things that they're still capable of doing.
Right. That's important to
That's
people at
it.
end of life,
Certainly is.
isn't it? That all of their roles, their identity is not taken from this. I think that that's what hospice does well, is they help the person to maintain all of those things.
Right.
Yes.
Those choices might seem trivial to some, but it doesn't, right? In hospice care, that's, again, it's about giving that control back. Yeah, it's. I love to hear you talk about those things, because again, sometimes people think that, you know, they'll just go ahead and you make that decision for the person.
No.
That's not really effective, is it?
No.
Yeah. What about how do you communicate with the families to ensure that their needs are being met and that they feel supported? Go ahead, Melanie.
I am one to communicate with everybody, the families especially,
Yeah.
because I find that I spend time with these the patients, the loved ones, when they're not there.
Mm-hmm.
So I can witness certain things that their loved ones could do that maybe they missed out on. I'm always there to communicate, to let them know about their days and how everything went, and
Yeah.
I'm pretty good at communicating.
Yeah, communication's key,
And
isn't
you build relationships with
Yeah.
the family members.
Yeah.
You know, they become part of your family.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and it's a whole unit. We serve everybody in that, right? Dying is not an individual affair. This affects everybody in
Right.
that system. So it's really important that people get tended to all around, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you have anything you wanted to add to that, Esther?
One of the best way that I use, because I work usually for facilities for long term, if the family is not there all the time,
Yes.
so I do communicate with the nurse, and then they will get the information to the family. Sometimes family members are there in during the time that I'm taking care of the patient, and I always try to let them know that the patient is comfortable, and any concern that they have, and if I don't have any answers, so I just try to get that communication to the nurse, so the nurse can get in touch with them and explain them anything that they need to know, because it's a lot of things that sometimes the family, a lot of concerns
Yes.
that they sometimes have that all the time I don't have the answer for that, so the nurses, but communication, like we said here, is the key for everything.
Yeah.
With the family, with the patient, and in general.
Yeah. And we say this all the time in hospice and palliative care. Communication's the cornerstone, isn't it? Like
It is.
that's really the basis of all this and how things can go so well.
Yes.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit too about how do you, because again, when people have a serious illness, when they're at end of life, how do you foster one's dignity? How do you respect those around personal care tasks, things like that? Dignity is such an issue here, and I think that sometimes dignity can feel like it's being taken from us. How do you all help to keep that up and to respect that, to honor it?
The keeping the privacy, always.
Yeah.
That's one of the major things that I do, and try to keep the privacy of the patients always. That ensure the dignity it's respected.
Yeah.
And like we mentioned before, giving them the opportunity to participate in the care as much as they can, without rushing them, like giving the opportunity to do the things in the way that they can do it, but being there for them too, just in case they need us. And respecting, privacy and their desire, to go.
Absolutely.
I think she said it all.
Yeah, it really does hit it right, in terms of, again, and there's that choice again, having that say. When we, sometimes like we think something might look nice, on really respecting, how did somebody dress? What was their style?
Right.
All of those things. It's not what we think looks great on them. We'll think, really, what is it for them and their style and their way? And it matters for people, even when people can't communicate it. If, let's say, they have a form of dementia, that matters. It still matters greatly, doesn't it?
It does. It does. And another thing is respect their beliefs, because everybody has a different beliefs.
Yes. Very good.
Sometimes it's a clothes that they don't want to wear or something like that. So just because the patient can't say anything, I won't be putting a clothes that probably the patient won't like to wear. I will respect, the belief and the choices that that person have. If that person cannot communicate anymore, but I will, check in the history of that patient, and I will go in the, in the way that the beliefs of that patient was, when was able to communicate.
Absolutely.
If it's no more able to communicate.
And that's how we do it, right? We go to the system, go to the person. What are they able to tell us? What are the things that they like? What are their preferences? All that. If they cannot say it, then the people that love them around them, how much information can we get from them? If let's say there is no family, then sometimes it's trial and error too, isn't it? Like learning about that person as you're going, about what is comfortable for them and what is not. It's a real process, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you this question too. This is hard work. I mean, when you're doing this work all the time, how do you do it? Like, and how do you take care of yourselves?
It's I was before we get into the studio, we were talking, and we were talking about that I was telling to Melanie that for to do this job, you had to like it. You had to be a compassionate person. You had to have empathy, because when you have those things, you don't feel like you're working hard, because you feel it inside, and you do it like you're doing it for someone that you love or for yourself. And that's the way that you can do your job in the right way. That's the way that I feel.
Yes. When you love what you do, you never work a day in your life. That's the expression, right?
It's true. I mean, I go home at the end of the day, and I feel good. I feel like, wow, I made a difference in somebody's life today. I feel good. I do.
How do you, and what do you do to help? Because it's, again, when you're dealing with loss all the time, we have to rejuvenate. Right? How do you do it? How do you rejuvenate to come back each day to bring this beautiful compassion and empathy that you both have, and to take care of people every day with that?
What do we do?
I hope you take good care of yourselves.
Do. I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I always try to, I don't like to take my work home with me.
Yep.
I end my day, I go home, I reflect on my day.
Yes.
But I just take it slowly, and I take care of myself. Good. Simple things. Simple.
Yeah.
Because it's important. Yes. Because if we're not well, we're not going to perform well.
Exactly. If that's, I always say this is the counterintuitive part. We believe that the better caregivers we are is the more we do for others.
Right.
But that counterintuitive piece is the better care we take of ourselves, the more available we are to care for others. Right. And I hope you both follow that, because it's hard to do sometimes when you're just naturally a caregiver,
Right.
and that you want to help other people. You're in this for the right reasons,
Mhm.
right? We're in this because we care so much about people, and you want to take care of people. You want to make things better. And in our work, right, better is not necessarily that that people are going to have a cure, but we can make things better in this process through their end of life journey, can't we?
We can.
Yeah. How about you, Esther?
When I finish my day, I go home and I try to, share some time with my daughter, my kids, and just think about the good things that I always try to do for my patients, and for the families. And like Melanie says, it's very satisfying at the end of the day that you feel the way that you make feel others, and at the same time that makes you feel good. And you just take a reflection about that, and you just,
brings
just
you back
keep
the next
going
day
and
with an open heart, doesn't it? Yeah. If you want, when you're thinking about, I want to make sure you tell the audience something that's important to you, like that we might not have talked about yet, that you really feel is important, that they take with them today around hospice care, end of life, that sort of thing. What would you want to share with the audience around that?
I would say it's a hard decision when it comes to the time where you have to think about hospice care, but in the same sense, I would say to do it sooner. Do it sooner, because there's so many beautiful benefits that somebody can receive from the care.
I don't think we can say that enough. I think,
It's
again,
true.
people think, we have talked about this before in other shows, is that people think this is really for people that are just at the very end, hours, days to live. But when you bring somebody onto service sooner, there's so much that can be done. So we are constantly trying to encourage people to do that.
Right.
And it's hard sometimes, for people to come to that decision, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah. Yeah. How about you, Esther?
I would like to share that hospice care is about ensuring the quality of life. It's being more improved, and that the person live with more dignity and the help that person need, and just make the time of life comfortable for them, not feeling uncomfortable, no pain, and not feeling that they can't do things, because they have someone that will support them if they need it. And also, as I mentioned before, the family also had that feeling that they're not alone. They have us, and we there to support and do all we can do to help them to go through that process.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I have to tell you, again, I'm so grateful for the two of you. I'm grateful for just the hospice aides are such a critical part of our team. The compassion and the care that you provide is just beyond words. And I can't thank you enough, too, for coming on the program today to share your experiences with everybody, because it's so important. And like I said, you're just such a critical part of this team. So thank you both so very much.
Thank you for inviting
Thank you for
us.
having us.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure, believe me. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to the program today. And again, I just feel so blessed to have Melanie and Esther on the program today, because again, the work that they do is just, it really matters to people. They really touch lives in so many different ways. So thanks for tuning in. I hope you got a lot out of this program. Look forward to you tuning in to other ones.
We don't focus on dying or how long they have left. We focus on whatever they want to do, whatever they can do, making sure that we can help them along.
Hospice care is really not just the physical care, but it's also the emotional and spiritual care as well. And we try to ease people into and through the process to hopefully make it as special and as meaningful a time for them as it can be.
It can be something much bigger than those final moments with someone. It can really help prepare the patient and family for eventual end of life. And I love that about it.